Hey Mark, this is Amal. I wanted to show you, I've been meaning to make this video for a while, so I apologize for the delay. This is the finished keyboard covering I had been meaning to show you. I've bumped the exposure up just a little bit to give, so you can see a little bit better, but you know what the front looks like. So here's the back. This is with the Kodiak leather attached. It is glued to the main, that gray lining that was part of the keyboard case. So let me see if I can get it to focus up close here. And I talked about, dyeing the edges black to kind of give it a finished look. So I mean, there are parts that are a little bit rough, and really the rough parts are more from the lining, from the gray lining, than the actual Kodiak. The seam seems to be holding pretty well. I mean, I don't really anticipate it coming apart. Let me see if I can get it to focus. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what it looks like. I trimmed it pretty close to the lining. You see there's a slight seam there, but I did, this is the edge where the rest of the case was, so I cut it off here. So it is it's slightly more width on this side than this side, but it gives you something to hold if you need to. And in case I decide to run a stitch on this edge, I wanted to leave a little bit of room. But you can see I rounded off the corners to kind of match, to give it a pretty uniform look. So yeah, that's what we got. Let me and what I was going to show you the edge. So this is your, the part of the Kodiak I was going to use for your case. What I wanted to show you was the edge, what I meant by that rough edge. So that's pretty much what it's going to look like. Unless I do this treatment, this black treatment on it, the edge. But you can see that there's still a little bit of fuzz, and where the seam comes together, since the lining isn't really leather, it is harder to burnish more than in the traditional sense. But I think it works pretty well considering it's leather mixed with this rubber vinyl. And the small gray pieces you see, most of that is just from the gray lining, and really could probably burnish it more. And I might even touch it back up with a little bit more edge coat. But yeah, that's what we got. I wanted to show you the progress so far. As I mentioned, sometimes in the middle of the project it looks a little rough, so I'm warning you now. This is going to be the outside shell. This is the Kodiak that we talked about. And let me get the case pulled up. Okay. So, let's see if I can get this in view. This is the inside part I'm working on right now. It's a big, long piece. Shift it over this way. So what I ended up doing was, I think last time I had talked about dyeing the edge black, and I totally changed my mind, and basically what I ended up doing was I cut the pigskin lining and kind of shoved it into the inside of this section. Now, obviously it goes up to like that part, and it's all glued in here, and there will be a stitch running, of course, along this edge. Now it's all oversized because I'll be trimming the pigskin off, as I go along. So, but I wanted to show you kind of what, there's the seam right there, and then I'll fold it back, and then there'll be a stitch running right along this edge right here. So yeah, and then of course I'll touch it up with a little bit of black dye. But that's the seam basically of the main liner joining with the top part, and then same thing over here. I did want to show you one thing on the case. I had dyed it black, and basically on the inside here, this main lining, let me roll it up. This main lining goes all the way up to this point here. I don't know if you can see that seam, but this is the pigskin lining, and then this top part is a black dye. I didn't want to put the beginning of this up into a curve or a bend because I was afraid it would start to peel off. So it is just right below that. It's a little bit of glue still, but I'll put some more dye on there. So It goes like that. The thing is, a little bit of the black dye leaked into this part here. So, if you want, I can put some lining. This kind of lining. It's kind of thin. It's a little thick. In here, if you want me to cover this part. You had mentioned earlier that you weren't too worried about it because the tablet would be actually sitting in here. But if that's an issue, I might be able to get it off. But I could always put lining inside there. So yeah, that's kind of what we're looking at with this piece. Let me see if I can get it. It's hard to get all of this tablet in there, but. And then what's gonna happen is, here's the back of the foam, and then I'm gonna add another piece of foam here. It's gonna continue down to the the flap section. I did put a little score mark here to help the bend, when it's doing that bend back. So yeah, that's kind of where we're at. The next stage really is to get this onto the back side, and it's gonna be something like this. And of course, this is all cut oversized. So if you're wondering why it's all very sloppy looking, what will end up happening is it will end up gluing all this, and I come back and create a nice clean, like a rounded edge, where it needs to be, and cut it all to size. So yeah, this is kind of where I'm at right now, and there's a couple tricks that you do to make sure it all fits and all the placement is right. And I guess I can explain it to you right now. Is when I'm doing this edge, I'm ending up going to stitch here and go down to this part and all the way down somewhat, and I'm gonna leave basically this top side open because it's gonna determine as I play with it, fold it over back and forth with the liner on. I'm gonna try to determine where that binder board needs to go right here, and also where the Kodiak strips will go. That will act as the catch for this part, as it goes along. So yeah, I want to show you. I'm probably gonna move on to the next stage, which is gluing certain parts of this down and trimming it up and cleaning this part up, and then once I have part of it adhered, I can kind of get a good idea of what the fold needs to be. Which reminds me, I need to get a pen. Hold on. This is the Sharpie model I'm using for your pen loop. It's a little tight, but I think you mentioned yours is just a little bit thinner than this. So this is going to end up going, I'm going to have to kind of figure it out as I somewhere in this crease area. Back this way. I think it'll be oriented this way more, and I just have to kind of determine, once I have part of this attached, where the proper spacing will be for that section. But anyway, I want to show you this. I think I want to just stitch it. This will be trimmed up a little bit, and I'll clean it up, curve it, and probably, I'll probably trim off somewhere here. One thought was to kind of tuck this into the lining. My only concern with that is if I cut a slit into the lining and tuck it in and do a stitch, I don't really want to compromise the lining too much with that stitch. Ideally something like this would be stitched into not only the foam part but also this, the Kodiak. But since we're not doing that, I'm worried about the foam and the pigskin really holding a stitch. So my thought was go into the pigskin and just from the top, and not put any cuts into the pigskin. I don't know if that's okay with you. That to me is the strongest, most durable way to attach this wherever I decide to put it. So yeah, let me know. I just want to show you where we're at. Pretty much I'm at the assembly stage all the leather is cut to size, well, relatively, and then once I get it certain parts to be glued down, I'll start trimming and you know, folding over and seeing where it all goes, where all the layout's going to be here. But yeah, so that's where we're at. This part. It's going to go around, fold, and you know, of course, the fold probably won't be. I mean, right now, this almost goes completely over the case. I think when the final fold happens, it'll be more midway. Maybe not. We'll see. We'll see. Because we do want to keep that. I'm gonna add. There'll be foam right here. And I'm gonna add that backer board here, still, and then on the inside of this part, once it's all cut, will be another layer of Kodiak, kind of forming a pocket right here, like we talked about on the phone. Hopefully that makes sense. But yeah. Okay. Anyway. There's that, and if you notice that there was a nice scratch over there I just put on just a second ago. It came out pretty nice. So yeah, there's the keyboard, there's the case, and oh, that's the other thing is when I'm actually measuring this out, I'm going to be planning to have the keyboard in when I'm trying to decide where the pen loop actually goes. Yeah. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions. I think this is essentially the design we've finalized. If we need to change anything, let me know. I think the only thing is just kind of sorting out the pen loop, and it is actually quite thick. But what the pen loop and where the proper placement for it will be, and how it goes in. My thought is just trim this up, clean up on this edge, and then run a stitch straight down here in the correct position. Yeah, the pen loop will go. The pen will go right there somehow. Okay. Well, Mark, let me know if you have any questions. We'll talk to you later. Bye.